Yeah. You're listening to the Wild Die Podcast. 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 Listen 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 to the Wild Die Podcast.
Welcome to the Wild Eye Podcast, episode 110. My name is Eric Lamour, aka No Sleeves McGee, and here are my co-hosts, Morning Flower Gary McCallum and Karl Big Deal Kiesler. Morning,
What's up, guys? Morning.
Morning flower.
Yep. I mean, she coined it,
Yeah.
Candace. She nailed it.
Man, I liked her so much on the last episode, and then all
I
of a
know.
sudden, that like is not there anymore. Morning flower.
At
Wow.
least it's positive. It's beautiful.
Yeah, man. You are bright and cheery this morning.
Yeah. Speaking of positive, so today we're going to do a kind of a year in review. I mean, everybody's aware that it's been a very rough year for most people. Some of you might have lost their job or lost a loved one or just haven't been gaming much because of what's going on, the pandemic. And there's also been, if you live in the U.S., election, that was pretty rough this year. Events leading up to it, at least if you kept up with what was going on with the news and social media. So, yeah, rough year. But let's look at the silver lining and the positive, our personal highlights for the year. So let's do this. So, yeah, I put the question up on Facebook about people's personal highlights for the year, what they're looking forward to and things like that. And yeah, we got a couple people answering this. Jeffrey Reese says he ran Savage Eberron and he played in some weak-ass Deadlands mini campaign, but awesome Uxer character, though. Yeah, Jeff played in my Deadlands mini campaign, so that was him taking a jab at me for that one. So that's his highlight. At least it made it on the list of highlights. It might have been weak, but it was still there, right?
Is it really considered a highlight when it's a crappy thing that you remember? Like, I was in a car accident in January, right? I wouldn't call that a highlight.
That was a car accident, but I got better.
Right?
Yeah.
I remember losing a leg in that accident, but, you know.
I'm alive.
Right?
Yep.
Here's my highlight.
So, yeah, thanks, Jeff. Corey Dersham, for him, it was the cruise and the Savage Pathfinder announcement. And, yeah, Karl and I had the chance to go on the cruise. We'll talk about this a little bit.
Yeah.
Alan Rowe, career change to RPG publisher and successful Kickstarter. Alan Rowe is the Section D guy.
Congrats.
So it's
Congratulations.
It's funded. And congrats to Alan. I know you worked hard on that that setting, so it's good to hear. Jeff Buchanan says, my first year playing Savage Worlds. So, new player. Welcome,
Awesome.
Jeff. John Steve, another friend of ours, as GM running a Kung Fu Panda scenario and learning the true power of conviction the hard way.
He did.
Story behind
He
that.
learned.
Yeah, what happened is that I don't think he read it through real well. So it wasn't one shot, and he gave us each a conviction token to play with. And me, of course, I kind of knew how it worked.
Yeah.
So I played my conviction token, and then he thought that round was all of it. the extra D6 to trait rolls and damage. And then at the beginning of my next round, I said, well, I'm going to spend a Benny and keep that going. And I had 5 bennies at this point. So I mopped the floor basically. And of course, when other players realized what Conviction could do, everybody started playing their Conviction.
I think that was the highlight of everybody's year at that game. As soon as they saw Eric, they were like, say, what? And we're just looking for an opportunity to use our Conviction and just roll on it with the pennies. It was pretty funny. There's some sweet rolls, man. Some 30 to 50 point rolls on there. It was awesome. Just kicking ass and taking names. John Steve sitting there just like, you could just, if silence sounded like a cringe, that was it.
Like, what have I done? So I don't think he'll be playing with Conviction anymore.
Yeah, he was like the German guy that opened the Raiders of the Lost Ark box and his face just melted off. That was John Steve, just like, nah! That was awesome.
Yeah, good times. Christopher Landauer, the Savage Screws. Even though it seems like a decade ago, it's true. It was beginning of the year, end of January. So, yeah, a long time ago. And finally, that guy's got a kick-ass name. Luis Javier Opazo Honorado. And he says, my first game in Savage Worlds and the arrival of my Savage Rift stuff. So that sounds pretty cool.
He got his Rift stuff. I don't have mine yet.
No, because you got your postal box across the border. You thought you were so smart back then, huh? I'm going to save on shipping, and now you can't even get it.
Look at me now. My Rift box at 5 minutes away. Yep. It's 5 minutes away. I could throw a rock from it if I went down to the border.
You got to do it like a little Steve McQueen, like break out across the border and stuff, man.
Really?
Yeah, just go get it.
Look at me, Karl. You think I'm doing any kind of moves like that?
You got a big truck, right? Just ram that border.
I think the only way I'm doing anything is if I stick some weeds to myself and I roll myself across the border like a tumbleweed. But I live in the Pacific Northwest. They'll probably be like, well, why is there a giant tumbleweed rolling across the border? And then it'll just be me. I'll be like, never mind.
Wow.
Then remember, I got to roll back with it. That's
that's true. Yeah.
Why not just go for a ninja suit? 6'4", 400-pound ninja rolling across the border.
Smoke bombs and everything, man.
Yeah.
Right?
Ninja stars.
I could dress up as a ninja, as a Jedi. I'm not the fat man you are looking for. Right? As they got me down.
All right, back on topic. Karl, looks like a lot happened for you this year. A lot of highlights.
Busy.
What's going on?
Oh my gosh! So my highlights. I feel bad because like my 2020 has been pretty good considering. Let's just go down the list because there's a lot of stuff, really good stuff that's been happening. Savage Cruise, of course, started off, was amazing. That was an awesome time. Went to Genghis Khan, hung out with Eric again. It was awesome. Great con.
Wow.
He's jealous. He's like, I didn't get to hang out with Eric.
Yeah, it's just, these are like, I got to hang out with Eric. That was a highlight of my year.
Yeah, that's great.
Really? Really? Wow.
Low standards.
Man, no wonder you had a good year. The bar is set so low you couldn't trip over it.
Yeah, twice. We hung out on the cruise and hung out at Genghis Khan. So, yeah.
Hey, 2 times doesn't make it better, okay?
And, of course, joining this awesome podcast, Wild Eye Podcast.
It's the highlight of my year, to be honest.
The highlight of my year. I mean, it's number one, really.
Right. Sucking up.
My buddy, my doghouse buddy and I, Chris, we finished up Frontier Towns, Fort Griffin. We finished converting that huge document to Suede, which was a huge undertaking. I mean, there's so many NPCs, so many buildings and stuff like that. but we finally pushed that out the door. So there's an update document for that. Kickstarter wise, freelancing stuff. We finished up Monster Hunters Club. The books are actually printing right now, so if you haven't got it,
I got mine.
It. Yeah,
looks pretty good.
I'm glad that's out the door and everybody's playing it. And also Dead End. I worked with Atomic Ninja guys, and we finished up Dead End. We're working on the printing stuff right now, trying to get that fulfilled, but the PDF is out there. And of course, working with Pinnacle on Deadlands. I did some Deadlands stuff, and Savage Pathfinder, of course, still doing that. That's been a ton of fun, if not a lot of work, but still a bunch of fun. And of course, I'm now a player in 3 campaigns because I'm really busy. I passed the torch of GMing to various people. I'm like, I can't do it right now. I'm just a little busy. So I'm actually playing in 3 different campaigns on and off here and there. That's been a lot of fun. And of course, Wild Die Harder, our Twitch show that we started. That was been great. One more convention, online convention, Halloween. That was fun. I ran like 2 or 3 games on that online. And of course, the last thing, my highs of this year is being able to continue gaming online. So it's not face to face, but at least it's something, and we're still doing it online. So I'm really grateful, and that's good for me. So for right now, so those are my highs, bunch of them.
And I just hope everybody that's listening to this podcast hates you as much as I do right now.
Why?
Listen to all the good stuff that Karl gets to do. Like, here, I'm going to go next, and I'm just going to follow Karl. This is my highlight of the year. Not working on Dead End, not putting out cool products with my friends, not getting to look at Savage Pathfinder, not getting to put out my own little setting conversion. What else I didn't get to go to Savage Con, right? I didn't join a new podcast this year or started a new Twitch. Well, no, wait a second.
Wait.
No, I did do a Twitch thing this year. So yeah, take that, Karl. Wow.
Yeah, it's been good.
Okay, I'm done. Take it away, Eric. I'm going to go cry in the corner over here while you 2 guys tell me about all the cool things that you got to do this year. I didn't get to do anything.
It's not just about the things that you got to do, but I'm looking at all the announcements, all the things that happened this year, especially coming from Pinnacle. I mean, you got the Deadlands Kickstarter earlier this year, and people still don't have their books, their printed books, but all the material, all the PDF and digital, that's all been released. And then, I mean, there was Halloween that, you didn't get to take part of, but
thanks for rubbing it in.
Then later there was recently the announcement for Savage Pathfinder. And by the way, I was going to plug this later, but if you're listening to this right now, on Wednesday, December 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitch channel, Wild Die Harder, we're going to have the team, the Savage Pathfinder team on the show to talk about it. We're going to ask them questions. So send us your questions, thewildeye@gmail.com, or show up for that night. Come hang out with us and send your questions, and we have them for about an hour, and we're going to ask them questions, find out details, what's going on. That was a huge announcement this year for it's huge for Pinnacle, and I think it's going to be probably the most popular setting for Savage Worlds. It might beat Savage Rifts, who knows. So
blasphemy, how dare you.
So I mean, are you looking forward to Savage Pathfinder? Is that what excited you the most about what happened in Savage Worlds Fear, or was it Deadlands for you?
For who?
Who, me? I don't know who you're talking to.
For Gary.
We don't have our Deadlands box set stuff. I was smart enough to change my address, so it's going to get mailed to my house. That happened with Deadlands Last Colony that I still haven't even actually unboxed. And my Savage Riffs, along with my Skinny's Minis stuff, is all stuck across the border. So I don't have any of that garbage. But as far as answering your question goes, Savage Pathfinder, I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be nice to have like a fantasy setting inside, or I know there's already a couple with Hellfrost and Beasts of Barbarians and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's going to be sweet. I mean, especially you take Paizo, that is like, it's like almost an unlimited well of cool background stories. They've been at it for 30 years now, 20 some odd years, I think. They start in the 80s when 3.5 came out, right? So there's like, you got this lush world. Their artwork is fantastic. I was talking to Dave, the digital dungeon master. He's got a subscription for Paizo, and he was telling me the subscription's actually worth it. You get a bunch of stuff like ahead of time and whatnot, but he's got all of these like paper flats and paper minis, and you could get maps through them and stuff like that. So all of the content that we're getting for Savage Worlds, there's already a crap ton of it for Pathfinder to begin with, right? So yeah, it's going to be sweet when they kick it in and we get a taste of it. I know they're going to change it. There'll be new artwork and stuff like that, but I don't care. I'm going to use the Paizo stuff. Take that, Pinnacle. Who's salty this year, right?
You need some cookies and milk if you can squeeze down the chimney.
Right. I'm lactose intolerant. You know what's going to happen there.
Stuck in the chimney with lactose intolerant. Yeah.
Right. That's exactly what's going to happen.
What could possibly go wrong? All right. Well, for me, highs, I think, so I like to look at I know I'm considered being really salty about stuff, but I like to look at the bright side, because for me, life is about small little bucket list things that you can cross off. And for me, the Savage Screws was one of them. Yes, there are conventions that you can go to and meet creators and all that. But if you go to a big one like Gen Con or something like that, usually those creators are really busy promoting their stuff. Their schedule is packed. They're stressed out. It's chaotic. But on the Savage Screws, you get to hang out with these people, and they're on vacation, so they're really laid back. You can have a drink with them. You can just hang out and talk. They don't have a really busy schedule. So for me, that's a highlight. Most of these people I had met before. I had met Shane, but I would say that we became a bit more friends this time, because I had met him at Origins and Gen Con, and like I said, the guy's really busy. But on the cruise, he got to play in 2 of my games, and we went to dinner together and all that, and same with Clint and Jody, and I met Cheyenne Wright for the first time, Landauer and Fox for the first time, Karl also. Yeah. We'd known each other online for a while, but that was first time. Met great people, great creators that were there. So, and plus vacation, drinks and the sun and New Orleans, that was really cool. And then Genghis Con, which is the biggest Savage Worlds convention there is, and the organizers are outstanding. They put up such a great show, and the quality of the games that you can find there, the quantity of games that you can find there, over 100 games. People come from all over the country and even the world to come play Savage Worlds there, because they know they're going to find a game, and all those creators converge to that location. There's already a bunch of local people, but I'm not going to name them because there was just so many of them. Even the wild cards were there, so that was awesome. And also another highlight for me, it was a small project, but for me, another bucket list thing. And I worked on the Pinnacle product with Karl, so that's something I can cross off my list and say that I did that in my life.
The chase rules.
Yeah, the chase rule document, and that was cool. And what I'm looking forward to the most would be getting my Deadlands books, which should be early next year, right? And then like a lot of people, the release of the companions. Basically, so people can shut up about them and stop bugging people about the freaking companions.
Here's the salt.
Yeah, there's the salt coming. They're coming, people. The companions are coming, and Savage Pathfinder is not delaying the companions at all. So I know you're disappointed. That's the only bad feedback I got from Savage Pathfinder is people say, "Oh, I wish it would have been the companions first, and now it's going to take longer." But no, it's two different teams, and we're going to talk about that Wednesday too. You can hear it from the team itself that it's not delaying anything. And then even Savage Pathfinder. I'm not a Pathfinder guy. I'm not a big fantasy guy anymore. A bit jaded with that stuff, but I think there's going to be a lot of material that can be used in other games too, or even just running the campaign itself. I mean, it's still more things, and more things is better, even if I've got enough material to run games for 10 lifetimes already. So
yeah, we all know you're not going to live that long. So that's basic,
I'm not.
Right? And you better start playing more games, to be honest with you. Just saying.
Catch up. Yeah. Well, I ran a campaign earlier this year, and I'm running another one now, a play test. We're having a lot of fun. Boomsticks. So it's basically a bunch of metalheads fighting deadites, and plan on publishing this too. Hopefully it's good enough for publication, but we're 5 sessions into it right now and having fun with this. And another thing I'm looking forward to is maybe next year, by the end of the year, I would imagine, con season, like Karl was talking about, miss conventions. Running games online is really convenient for me, but I feel like I'm a better GM in person, or at least it's more fun, more engaging. So I'm looking forward to getting back to that. Maybe, we're looking at end of the year next year. That would be Mace in North Carolina in November, but hopefully maybe earlier than that. Con on the Cob again, or I think it's Genghis in February would be too early. I think still. Chupa, I'd like to go to Chupa. We got invited, Karl, but May, I think maybe too soon as well. So
yeah.
And Gen Con, I don't know. I've been there once. That was bucket list thing. I'm not sure I go back unless someone invited me, because it's just too expensive and too crazy. So we'll see. So
what else you got? That's it. You're out.
It. Well, that's just the highlights for me. The things that stand out the most. Couple games, couple campaigns, and of course, it's been 6 years now. The Wild Eye podcast together. 6 years, almost over 5 with Gary. That's when we took over 5 years ago, and he's still my loyal companion over there.
Sidekick. Yep, nice. I'm Robin. I'm not even the cool Batman.
and Karl joining us this year as the Joker.
Yeah. There you go.
Do you know what we're more like? We're more like that little fella, the little person, and the big mutant guy from Beyond Thunderdome.
Master Blaster.
Master Blaster. Yeah, that's right. That's the guy. That's what we're like.
Wild Eye podcast.
Eric's the brains behind the operation. I'm just the meat that just carries him around. It's funny. It's funny, if I would have had time to look at the show notes and thought of a thing. There was one of the highlights that I've got a couple that I can think of that are pretty sweet. When you guys went to the Savage Cruise, which was fantastic. But one of the cool things is I sent Eric my my 50 Fathoms book, and he got my favorite setting signed by Shane and Cheyenne. So I was like, that is actually a highlight. That is my prized possession of my entire like Savage Worlds thing. I do have my Wise Guys book and my Savage Worlds book hermetically sealed, in a special case where the sun doesn't shine on them ever, and it's temperature controlled. But between that and it's over on my shelf. But my all rolled up that we got from House Sewing, I got one from Eric in the wild die format. I don't know if you got one too, but they're fantastic, right? Yeah,
things are awesome.
That's awesome. They're super cool. I was rolling my dice in that the other day.
Yeah.
And as always, one of the things, the reasons that you show up every day, it's not for the great company. I love talking about role playing games and stuff like that. It's awesome to have you guys on the show, but it's really cool just to be like me. I'm a nobody. I don't print things or publish anything or have any art skills or do any of that kind of stuff. But it's fantastic for me just to be like a super fan and get to hang out with guys like John Goff on the Wild Die Harder. You know what I mean? I get the opportunity to do these kinds of things because of Eric and you guys. You know what I mean? It's like because of the show and stuff like that, it's always a highlight. It's cool to hang out with these guys, and I would have never had my stuff signed. So yeah, I really like stuff like that. But I'm still not happy that my Rifts box set is stuck across the border since March. That's
You can't get that forwarded.
I could, but I don't know how much it's going to cost. And every time I look at the border crossing, it's like, oh, it'll be open or December. They're going to relook at it December, 21st, and every month it's like watching, it's like my diet, Eric. Every month I'm like, I'll just do it next month. Well, I'm still the same weight. I'll start next month. So. Yeah, every time I've looked at it, it's been like, September 21st, they're going to look at it. So if September comes around, I'm like, it's only 2-3 weeks away. And then it's like, bam, no, we're putting it off till October. And then I forget about it for a little bit. And then I go look and I'm like, oh, it's only a couple days away. Right. But yeah, I mean, I've been running a year-long campaign on Tabletop Simulator. I got my Murder Hobo Show channel that's almost at 2,000 subscribers. I'm pretty happy with that. It's doing all right. And I'm looking forward to get back into Savage Worlds next year. I've been playing ICRPG all year because I was hanging out with Victor Diaz. He got me turned on to it. I started playing the system and I thought it was fantastic. And in an attempt to see how it panned out over like a campaign, you know what I mean, throughout the different levels and stuff like that, to get a feel for it better, I started playing it with a group every second Sunday, and I've been playing it for over a year. It's held up. But I'm really looking forward to get back into Savage Worlds. ICRPG doesn't have the crunch. There's no edges. There's no hindrances. None of that kind of stuff that really sort of gives your character flavor. It's cool that you can make kind of like Savage Worlds. You can make whatever kind of character you want. But Savage Worlds is that sort of sweet spot. And there's so many friggin' cool settings out for it, like ETU. I got so much stuff coming in with my Lost Colony. I want to play some of that. What else do I want to do? Last Parsec, Iron Gate. I bought that a while ago. And Matt Stark was going to run it. We got a couple of games into that, which was fantastic. That's actually not a highlight, but that is a highlight of this year.
No, I think that was the year before.
Was it 2 years ago? I haven't been role-playing for 2 years. Maybe it was. I thought it was January, February. But there's just a lot of sweet settings coming out. And now we've got friggin' Pathfinder coming out. That's going to be awesome. I've heard Pearson, the guy that started the Wild Die, Jamie Pearson, played Rise of the Rune Lord. I don't know if he converted it to Genesis, I think maybe is what he did, because he was right into that. But he played with Chris and Tony.
I think he played it with 5e, I think.
No, is that what he did? I don't know why anybody would do that. Why wouldn't you just play it with Pathfinder? They're like, they're both the same system. Do you know what I mean?
Close,
like, you get right. They're so close, they might as well be the same thing. It's like looking at one cheesecake that one is blueberry and the other is not really blueberry, but still blueberry.
The other flavor of cheesecake.
You screwed that up a little bit.
But that's my analogy, right? They're both blueberry cheesecake. They're just not the same blueberry cheesecake. Well, I love cheesecake too, by the way.
Yeah, cheesecake is awesome. We need to make a savage cheesecake.
Savage cheesecake.
Oh, if I could mail it across the border and get it there before it turned moldy and into a pile of liquid, I'd send you some.
All right, let's wrap this up. All right, folks. So this is it. This was the last episode before Christmas. Next time we record will be a couple days after Christmas, while not counting Wild Die Harder, of course. So if you don't listen to Wild Die Harder or watch it, I want to wish everybody Merry Christmas, especially to our patrons. I'm really grateful, excuse me, for our patrons. You know, when you've been doing this show for 6 years now, it's going to be our 7th year now. Of course, we had to reinvent ourselves over time, different hosts, so different material for the show, different angle, different tone, especially. But one of the things that motivate you to keep going, because, it's every 2 weeks and it's the same routine. And I'm not saying we're not having fun with it. Hanging out with these guys is awesome every time. But the patrons really let you know that what you're doing is important to them, and they want you to keep doing it. So this is probably the reason why this show is still alive. So yeah, Merry Christmas to you and your family. I hope you stay healthy. Being fortunate to lose people over this pandemic. Maybe we're nearing the end here. I'm hoping by next year things go back to semi-normal. Maybe we'll see. So yeah, anything else you guys want to tell our listeners for the end of the year?
Just the same. I mean, thank you for all the patrons and everybody listening. This has been great. I thank Eric and Gary for having me on, and I'm love to can't wait for more episodes. This has been a blast, and I really appreciate everything you guys do.
Yeah, I'd say thank you to the patrons, but you're just like my players. I don't care about you guys. I'm just kidding. We love you all. You guys are the best. I actually have to, if you want to take a moment of sincerity at the end of the show and wrap up 2020, I want to say the same thing. If it wasn't for the patrons and people actually taking the time, I know this sounds dumb and we're not digging for cash. I know that neither of us need it, but it really is the way to say thank you for all of the time that you put in. These things, they take time to get together. It's what is it, 6 o'clock in the morning. It's Sunday, my day off. I get up at 5:30, and I used to get up at 4 to come and do this show. Not for Patreon money, but because I love to do it. But it's nice to know that we're getting that support back and saying, hey, we appreciate what you guys are doing for us. And for me, it's not even about the Patreon money. I got a really beautiful email from this guy, Albert DeVetta, I think was his name, where he's a 50-year-old guy getting back into gaming. And he wrote me this email that was really personable. I don't want to read it, but it was sweet. I read it on the bathroom. I was, in the bathroom, going to the bathroom, and it was heartwarming. So he'll appreciate that joke, because essentially that's what he said. He's like, he likes the fact that I'm a 50-year-old guy. We're the same age. And, between all the Savage World stuff and the ball gag jokes, he's like, he was really enjoying or digging the stuff. So it was pretty cool. Things like that just make it, right? Patreon, the emails that we get, all of that kind of stuff that shows us that you're appreciative of the things we do, make me want to come here every day. Who wants to look at Eric's face every 2 weeks? Karl's pretty, but...
Pretty,
thank you.
A pretty big deal. That's what he is.
But yeah, there you go. I said my thing.
All right, thank you. I hope 2021 is a better year for everybody, except for Karl. I don't think it can get any better than that.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah. So you know what? No, sorry, Eric. You know what would make Karl's year better? If they redirected my wrist box right to his house.
That's true.
I feel like that's a possibility, considering what Karl had to happen going on this year.
That'd be awesome, man. Play some wrist.
All right. So this is Eric saying Merry Christmas and get yourself a big deal.
This is Karl saying, do you want to Benny that?
This is Gary saying, keep your pants on, keep it fun. Thanks, everybody. We're out.
Thank listening to another episode of the Wild Eye Podcast. If you would like to get in touch with us, our email address is thewildeye@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. But for us, we're the Wild Eye Podcast. Also, we do have a Patreon. So if you would like to support us, our address is www.patreon.com/thewildeye. And speaking of which, the Wild Eye Podcast would like to thank the following patrons: Rob Towell, Conrad Erasmus Neuberg, Corey Judd, Emma Wakeland, Kevin Stanley, Perry Chalmers, Ray Racia, Dan Brown, Nan Jetmon, Manuel Sams, Mr. Stagg, Zovia RPG Maps, Chris Grant, Robert Dorgan, Andy Hall, Brian Kaser, Daryl Kexier, Jens Klonheim, Sid the Squid, Knuckle Dave Anderson, Tor Bjertness Peterson. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you later.